Republic Act Number 8371, Chapter 8, Delineation and Recognition of Ancestral Domain.
Outline and recognition of ancestral domains. Self-outline will be the core value in the distinguishing proof and depiction of tribal areas. Thusly, the ICCs or IPs concerned will play a definitive part in every one of the exercises relevant thereto. The sworn statement of the elders regarding to the extent of the regions and arrangements or settlements made with adjoining ICCs or IPs, assuming any, will be crucial for the assurance of these customary regions. Area 52. Outline process. The ID and outline of genealogical areas will be done as per the accompanying techniques. Government will do whatever it may take to recognize lands which the ICCs or IPs concerned customarily involve and ensure compelling security of their privileges of proprietorship and ownership thereto. Measures will be taken in proper cases to defend the right of the ICCs or IPs worried to land which may at this point don't be only involved by them, yet to which they have generally approached for their means and customary exercises, especially of ICCs or IPs who are as yet migrant or potentially moving cultivators. A. Ancestral domains delineated prior to this Act. The arrangements hereunder will not have any significant bearing to familial spaces, lands previously outlined by the ENR Administrative Order No. 2, Series of 1993, nor to tribal grounds and areas depicted under some other local area or hereditary space program preceding the sanctioning of this law. ICCs or IPs whose hereditary terrains areas were authoritatively depicted preceding the establishment of this law will reserve the privilege to apply for the issuance of a Certificate of Ancestral Domain Title or CADT over the space without going through the interaction illustrated hereunder. B. Petition for delineation. The most common way of portraying a particular border might be started by the NCIP with the assent of the ICC or IP concerned, or through a petition for delineation documented with the NCIP by a larger part of the individuals from the ICCs or IPs. C. Delineation proper. The authority outline of hereditary space limits including statistics of all local area individuals in that will be quickly attempted by the Ancestral Domains Office after documenting of the application by the ICCs or IPs concerned. D. Proof required. Proof of ancestral domains claim will incorporate the declaration of elderly folks or local area having sworn to tell the truth, and different archives straightforwardly or by implications bearing witness to the belonging or control of the space since days or yore by such ICCs or IPs in the idea of proprietors, which will be any one of the accompanying credible documents. Fraudulent claims, the Ancestral Domains Office may, upon composed solicitations from the ICCs or IPs, survey existing cases which have been deceitfully obtained by any individual or local area. Any case observed to be falsely gained by and gave to any individual or local area might be dropped by the NCIP after due notice and knowing about every interested individual.
Before a description of the process of ancestral domain, delineation, and recognition is undertaken, there is a need to first define those terms in the law that allows for land titles. The types of title that IPs can apply for under the law are the CADT or the Certificate of Ancestral Land Title, A CADT refers to a title formally recognizing the rights of possession and ownership of IPs over their ancestral domains identified and delineated in accordance with this law. A CALT refers to a title formally recognizing the rights of IPs over their ancestral lands.
Segment 55, Collective Rights. Subject to Section 56 about regions inside the hereditary spaces, if outlined, will be ventured to be collectively held, provided the mutual freedoms under this Act will not be understood as co-possessions as given in Republic Act No. 386, also called the New Civil Code. Segment 56, Existing Property Rights Regimes. Property freedoms inside the familial spaces previously existing or potentially unless support of this Act will be perceived and regarded. Area 57, Regular Resources inside Ancestral Domains. The ICCs or IPs will have need freedoms in the gathering, extraction, advancement, or double dealing of any regular assets inside the tribal spaces. Segment 58, Ecological Considerations. Ancestral spaces or divides thereof which are observed to be important for basic watersheds, mangroves, untamed life asylums, wild, insured regions, woodland cover, or reforestation as dictated by proper organizations with the full investments of the ICCs or IPs concerned will be kept up with, oversaw, and created for such purposes. Area 59, Confirmation Precondition. All offices and other legislative offices will hence be completely urged from giving, restoring, or conceding any concession, permit or rent, or going into any creation-sharing arrangement without early affirmation from the NCIP that the region influence doesn't cover with any tribal area. Such accreditation will just be given after a field-based examination is led by the Ancestral Domains Office of the space concerned, provided that no certificate will be given by the NCIP without the free and earlier educated and composed assent of the ICCs or IPs concerned, provided, further, that no division, government, organization, or government-possessed or controlled enterprise might give new concession or permit, rent, or creation, sharing understanding while there is forthcoming application for a CADT, provided at last that the ICCs or IPs will reserve the option to stop or suspend as per this Act any undertaking that has not fulfilled the necessity of this meeting system. Agreement or MOA to portray genealogical space borders. The DENR Secretary will oblige any such solicitations inside 1 month of its issuance, provided that the Memorandum of Agreement will specify, among others, an arrangement for innovation moved to the NCIP.